Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom Fighters with Edward. Oh boy, Ed. What's your last name?
Edward Lang.
Yeah, Edward Lang and Damantae Graham. And for the first segment, we're going to have Damantae interview Ed, and then for the second session, we're going to have Ed interview Damantae, and this is going to be what this episode's about. And we'll pick different different topics for different episodes, and we'll let the gentleman up on death row pick the topics for us. Okay, welcome, guys.
What's going on, man? So, this is the first official show for our podcast, the Freedom Fighters. We ask our listeners and subscribers to share the posts and links to our show on your social media platforms with the hashtag Ohio Freedom Fighters. Our primary focus with this podcast is to bring awareness.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
To bring awareness to the inmate death penalty in Ohio and across the country, we hope that our listeners and subscribers will help us urge legislators to abolish it. Today's show will be broken down into two segments. The first segment, as James said, will be centered around my case, and the second segment will be about Damantae's case. So for new subscribers, I've already done 4 segments about my innocence that can be found on the same podcast and YouTube channel, Change Start With Us Ohio, which will allow people to get familiar with the things I've spoken about regarding my innocence. But I would like to reiterate some of the key points that's very relevant that will help people understand my innocence. I also have a petition that people can sign supporting my innocence, which can be found on change.org/These Innocence Project.
So, get a listeners some insight and background about your case.
All right, so on October 22nd, 2006, my co-defendant Antonio Walker and I plotted to rob a known drug dealer in Canton, Ohio, under the guise of a drug deal. During a drug deal/robbery, my co-defendant shot and killed the dealer and his girlfriend. A couple days afterwards, Antonio and I was arrested for questioning regarding these 2 murders. I admitted my involvement in robberies, but denied being the one who committed the murders. Antonio, however, denied any involvement and blamed what he did on me. Because I was arrested while trying to get rid of the murder weapon, and the fact that Antonio blamed everything on me, the police zeroed in on me as the murderer. However, the prosecutors didn't know which one of us actually committed these murders and put us against each other in order to build a case. Once the death penalty was thrown on the table, Antonio began cooperating with prosecutors, and he began building a case around me as a principal offender.
Explain to the listeners why you got caught with the murder weapon.
Okay, I got caught with a gun simply because I was trying to get rid of it. I purchased the gun from a flea market weeks prior, and even though I didn't kill anyone, plan for anyone to get killed, or want anyone to get killed for that matter, I became an accomplice to these murders the moment Antonio took it upon himself to kill these 2 individuals. So I pretty much wanted to eliminate myself from any involvement, by trying to get rid of the gun. Like I was in the streets, I was doing a lot of wrong, I made a lot of, bad choices, throughout my life. Not that it's an excuse, but I just wanted to eliminate myself from getting caught up in what he did.
Okay, explain the significance the crime scene photos have in solidifying your innocence.
Okay, so the crime scene photos, it shows that where the prosecutors alleged that I sat in the back seat behind the driver in the car, is blood on the floorboard, the seat, and on the door panel. Basically, it shows that whoever sat in the seat where the prosecutors say that, the shots came from would have had some blood from the victims on their clothes. The shoes that I had on, the jeans that I had on, the shirt that I had on, as well as the jacket that I had on, there's no discrepancy that the police got that exact clothing that I had on. Everybody that identified me with these clothing on, and they never disputed the fact that I didn't have these clothes. Everything came up negative with gunshot residue as well as DNA. So it shows that if my clothes came up negative of blood that should have been on them, and my co-defendant, his clothes was never submitted or never taken from his house, then it proves my innocence.
How relevant is the fact that your DNA was allegedly on the gun?
Okay, so people can go online and read about our cases, but when they go online, because we're convicted of crimes, the prosecutor is offering to do people that look up our case, things to support their argument. So, it says that my DNA is on a gun. However, the prosecutor's pigeonhole a witness expert on stand and to stating that the DNA was found on the murder weapon. It was during cross-examination that my lawyers clarified this, that in fact the DNA that was found on the gun was too small to be submitted into the FBI's coded database to determine whose DNA it was. But during closing arguments, the prosecutors misrepresented the facts, stating that Antonio was excluded as a source of DNA, but I couldn't be excluded.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
I mean, it makes no sense that if the DNA is too small to determine whose it was, how can they say it wasn't my co-defendant? But they can say, well, they can't determine one way or the other whether it was mine or wasn't mine. I mean, was it mine or wasn't mine, right? So the thing is, the gun was mine. I already admitted that the gun was mine. So if my DNA was on the gun was mine. It wouldn't mean anything because DNA is not responsible for pulling the trigger. A person is. You understand what I'm saying? So the fact that fingerprints was wiped off the gun was found wrapped in a towel in the backseat of a car that was not mine. It was the car that I was driving, and I was parked in front of my co-defendant's house. I was in the process of getting rid of the gun. Again, the gun was mine. I wanted to eliminate myself from any involvement with the crime whatsoever. Bad choice, you know. So, you know, that's pretty much the thing to highlight, you know, my innocence. You know, the other interviews that I gave, you know, it goes into a little bit more depth with some of these issues. What I plan to do is, you know, get the statements placed online so that people can view everything that I'm saying, as well as the crime scene photos, if I'm allowed to, you know, put the crime scene photos online so that, you know, people can see for themselves the things that I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to hide behind anything that I did. I'm not, you know, up for submitting anything that's not factual that I can prove. You know, people must understand that, you know, when people read about our cases online, it's the prosecutor's version of what happened based on the fact that he was convicted. So they're arguing our conviction to a appellate court, just a appellate court to uphold our sentences. So we have the burden to be able to prove that they have said what our conviction was is inaccurate. So the thing that's in our appeal docket, if you go to the state of Ohio website and type in my name inside the appeal docket, then you can see the things I've argued in my appeal. You know, I've had a victim's family sit on my juror, and you know, she lied about knowing my victims. She lied about knowing anything about the case. But come to find out, when I recognized that she knew someone in the gallery, I pointed this out.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
I pointed this out to my lawyers, and when they called a sidebar with the judge, the prosecutor had already known that she was related to the victim. So had I not said nothing, they would pretty much allow her to continue to sit on my juror, which would have tainted the juror. So the fact that she had motives and the fact that she had some reason for lying to try to get seated on the juror shows that my juror was tainted from the beginning. So the judge and my lawyers didn't declare a mistrial, which should have happened. I should have been able to get a mistrial, and I should have been able to start the whole trial procedures from start, but they didn't. We went along with the trial, and I was found guilty and received a death penalty for that particular victim that was related to that particular juror. The main victim that we plotted to rob, and that was the main target, and that my co-defendant killed initially to eliminate himself being retaliated against, I received a life sentence for. So in my mind, I really strongly feel that juror sat on that, you know, she tried to manipulate the other jurors, you know, to find me guilty. Like, you know, the evidence, you know, don't support, you know, me being convicted for principal offender as well as me receiving a death penalty. You know, I was given an option to be found guilty as an aider and a bidder, which means an accomplice. The jury was never explained what that meant and how to listen to certain things throughout the trial to be able to determine if I could be in fact found guilty as an aider and a bidder. So they found me guilty as a principal offender. You know, I had two other witnesses that testified, my co-defendant and another guy. They both testified in order to be able to beat other charges that they was facing. My co-defendant testified to keep from getting the death penalty. he admitted the line on the stand. His statement is different from the initial police statement. When he testified on trial, he admitted the line while he was testifying. But he said,
"This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored."
His deal was predicated upon him telling the story that he told at trial. The other guy was facing a dope charge. 1 minute he admitted that he couldn't remember the conversation that we had the morning that he alleged that I admitted these crimes to him, but then he was coerced by the homicide detectives to say that I committed the crimes. His statement in saying that I admitted to him that I committed these crimes is different from what my co-defendant said happened, and he was allegedly an eyewitness to the murder. You understand what I'm saying? I have other statements from a female that I was involved with and from my son's mother who also stated things in my favor. That I didn't have no blood on my clothes. I didn't, come home and try to get rid of no evidence. I didn't have a gun on me when I came home that night. And things of that matter. However, they was not called, as witnesses on my behalf. My son's mother actually went on a run for obstructing justice because she kept flip-flopping her story. 1 minute she said I didn't do it, the next minute she said I did it, and vice versa. You understand what I'm saying? So I have things that support my innocence. However, trying to prevent support is the hardest part I'm dealing with because of having lawyers that's incompetent. So if anybody is out there that's listening, if they have legal advice, if they have legal help, or if they know lawyers that can help assist myself, Damantae, and other prisoners that's wrongfully convicted, if you can pass on the information so that we can give them to other prisoners and we can use it to our advantage, that would be so helpful.
But it sounds like a lot happened during your case and during your trial that wasn't fair.
Absolutely. The thing about the death penalty, people must understand, it's political. I was convicted during an election year. There's more convictions in Ohio and other states of people getting the death penalty during an election year, which is not. You got serial killers that don't get the death penalty, but you got guys that can rob and kill a drug dealer and get the death penalty, or guys that can have a passion murder and get the death penalty. A lot of it doesn't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? I watched something on PBS recently where they were speaking on the fact that the death penalty in states is not particularly about the punishment itself. It's more of a bargaining tool. At the time that I was going through my trial, it was probably like 7 or 8 of us that was facing the death penalty.
You have 1 minute remaining.
All these other individuals pled guilty and took life off the road because they was afraid of getting the death penalty. They offered me life, I turned it down. They offered me a chance to testify, I turned it down, and I was convicted and given the death penalty.
Okay, and then you're going to call back to finish up this segment, and most of the segments will be, through 2 phone calls. But they are limited to 15 phone calls at one time. So I will hear back. Okay, call back as soon as possible. Okay, brother? Okay.
Right now.
Trying to stay as quiet as I can. That's pretty much done. Smart squeeze, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn the AC off. I got my windows open upstairs, and then it's gonna get hot.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit. This call is from a corrections facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Welcome back. So this episode will be Ed interviewing Damantae regarding his case and situation as well. Go ahead, Ed.
Okay, so, Damantae, what do you want our listeners and subscribers to understand about your innocence?
Okay, I'm Damantae Graham. I would like to shed light on the deficiencies of the so-called justice system because this same system has done a grave injustice to me and my family. In 2016, I was convicted of aggravated murder, aggravated robbery, and kidnapping based entirely on the testimony of 3 witnesses. These witnesses admitted their own involvement and placed me at the scene committing the murder. Now, the testimony is called direct evidence because it leaves no room for inferences to be drawn. My convictions rest solely on the credibility of these witnesses. Their credibility was boosted when they all gave the same sequence of facts, but ultimately is their word against mine.
What is your association with these 3 witnesses?
So, the state's 3 main witnesses, they were my co-defendants. I was associated with Marquise Greer and Todd Krilling because they are the relatives of my friends, and we know a lot of the same people. But the driver, AJ Planica, I never had any dealings with him and did not even know him. I have maintained my innocence and denied any involvement since day one. The only reason my name was involved is because I had priors as a juvenile, and Marquise Greer's girlfriend mentioned my name to the police as being associated with him and the crime, so they ran with it. None of my co-defendants got life without parole or the death penalty. They all got deals in exchange for testifying.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
Did all of the witnesses have the same deal or receive different deals for these testimonies?
Well, Marquise Greer and Todd Krilling both received 16 to life.
Huh. Not sure what happened there. We lost them. We lost them, guys. So what we'll do is on Friday, we will continue to finish this one up and go from there. Or we may even do it sooner, but we will see what we can do, and we'll finish this one up for sure. Finish. So we're going to finish up tomorrow at 11:30, just so that we can be fair on what we're trying to get done. Both of these men claim innocence, and I want them to share their platform so that we can get the word out on these guys. And I was just waiting just to see if there's anybody else that they could use the phone number from, but they both use theirs, so we probably won't get a call back right away. But we will finish up tomorrow at 11:30, and they can elaborate a little bit more than what they were able to today before we lost the call. Folks, please check out our website, www.changestartswithus.ohio.org. Again, that is www.changestartswithus.org. Our email is changestartswithusohio@gmail.com. Everybody have yourself an awesome, awesome day.